Welcome to Pigeon River Farm, doing farming right. I'm Robert Brown, the owner of Pigeon River Farm. Thank you for viewing. Good evening. In tonight's episode, we're going to talk about baling hay. There's a variety of different methods that are used today for baling hay. On my farm here, we have specific need. We don't actually sell any hay, we actually buy in some hay, but mine is consumed by the cattle or livestock. So I have a specific need for the hay that we produce. And that particular case, we use a Vermeer baler. We make very large bales. We make the 5x6s, or typically I go 5x5.5. And these bales are optimized for my application because all I need to do is get out there, get the bales made, get them stored. We're not worried about transportation, anything of that nature. Now, my cousin, on the other hand, doesn't actually raise any livestock, but sells a significant amount of hay. And he sells it in two different models. One is he'll sell round bales, and these would be the 4 wide by 4 and or 5 round, and they're high density bales, and they're intended to be shipped and sold to other farmers. Now, I'm one of the people that buy from him. Great farmer, great hay. But he also, where he makes the majority of his money on the hand, is actually in the small square bales. And if any of you can remember, if you've ever been around farming, dealing with the little bales, often we call the idiot blocks. And these bales typically are an excessive amount of labor. So there's been methodologies over the years. Actually, I had a kick baler at one time, but there's conventional baler where you have people hanging on the wagon and you unload. My cousin has come up with purchased a labor-saving device that makes doing small square bales very economical. He's got a system made by New Holland that actually gathers the bales. They're laid on the field, as you can see in the video here, and it gathers them up and it stacks them and puts them out in a big column, basically a big square, and very easy. So he sells to a variety of people around the community here. A lot of Amish buy from him, a lot of horse people buy. So he has kind of developed a way with a limited amount of labor, just him and his son running the farm. There's just not people around to do the old labor intensive approach. But that tool has really paid off. So when you think about hay, now there's one, I'm not going to go into depth about it, but it's the big square. They make these 3x3, 3x4 bales. They're like the little bales, but they're a big square bale. None of the farmers around here immediately have them that I've worked with. I've bought a few over the years. So let's talk about these different bales. So the small square bales, as you've seen, are able to be shipped relatively efficient, but because of their configuration, they're tying them down on a load is difficult to get them secured for any kind of distance. So that's one of the challenges that we run into with the small squares. The large square bales move perfectly on semis. You get the maximum amount of utilization of flatbed and very easy to secure. So they're the ones that are most prone for long distance. Downside of that bale configuration is it cannot tolerate rain. So if it gets rained on, it can easily set up into a rot condition. Where the round bales don't transport very well, but they do withstand a fair amount of rain. Even a non-wrapped bale can take some rain. So these are important points when you're thinking about what kind of baler, what kind of baling you want to do. In the case of the like by my cousins, you see with the John Deere baler there, that one is utilizing a 4 foot wide, and I think they're making them 4x5s on this particular video. And they transport not as efficiently, but being 4 foot wide, put them side to side, 8 foot on a trailer. So they work really well for transportation. So kind of a rule that's been established: if you're going to ship the bales out of state or long distance, normally you're going to make large squares. If you're going to ship them locally, I mean within maybe 150 miles, then the high density round bales will work, the 4x5s. In my case here, I've got a 5-foot wide bale. Doesn't transport well. I don't care about transporting. In my case here, we're going to use them on the farm. So it has the most volume of hay that you can put in there. So I'm looking at a lot more volume or less time being in there per bale. So the difference is, so if you're looking for a baler and you're going to be selling the hay, the biggest return on investment is going to come in a small square. But figure out that labor part. Like my cousin did, you can see that was really the cat's meow. That is the perfect labor saving device if I ever seen it. Works better than anything else I've ever come across. The next one is going to be set big squares. We're going to ship them long distance. The high density 4-foot balers are optimized, both for if you're going to use the hay on the field or use it on the farm, and or if you're going to ship it. And if you're going to get the 5-footer, at least in our area here, they're really not going to be optimized for other than real localized shipping. So give some thought to the different baler configurations. Let's talk a little bit about profit. Again, I know if you're going to do a 4x4 bale, we've done side by side with them, and a 4x4 on hay that we produced here on the farm, and it was a fairly new baler running against a little bit older small square baler. We ended up getting 26 small squares to one 4x5 round bale. So just kind of a ratio. But again, you're talking about $4 a bale. I'm just talking about today's current price. $4 a bale for a small square, where you're looking around $50, maybe $60 for a 4x5. So kind of do the math and see what the most efficient. Now, one, you got a lot more labor in, but it also is something you can manage. You need skid steer, lift equipment to deal with any of the large rounds or the large square. In the case of the small square, that is something it's mainly done by hand. So again, if you're going to handle, like in my case here, we have quite a few head of cattle. I couldn't envision small squares. The amount of work that would take place during the winter time would be just unbelievable. I don't think I could run the place efficiently. Where we go with the large bales, when I drop them in the bunk wagon, I have a lot of feed. So I always think of winter when I'm baling in the 90 degrees and humid day. I'm out there cutting or baling. I'm thinking about 10 below zero and the wind blowing when I'm going to be feeding. So that's the proportion on it. So I wanted to thank you very much for your attention tonight, and hopefully the little bit of wisdom here will benefit you, and have a great evening.